The more you learn, the more you grow.
Yes, for the record, we have no phones and no AI for our students.
Yes. I think this podcast will be exploring the different values of culture in an international school. We live in a country called Austria, and we've danced a lot of classical dances from this country.
The curriculum is built in a way that you're able to draw the interdisciplinary linkages.
The history of music in culture education for me has really been important. Why? Because a way to explore culture is through music.
Hi there, dear friends. Welcome to Schloss Krumbach International School podcast. Did you know why we do the things we do? And we do it really well. And today we have a student of grade 9 here, Ryan. Ryan, what do you think this podcast will be about?
I think this podcast will be exploring the different values of culture in an international school and what we learn concerning different people's values which are imbibed within them from their various cultures and where they come from.
Yes, that is actually a fair point. So you see, Ryan here is a rising star of our musical and singing, so to say, arena at Schloss Krumbach International School. One of the pillars of our education is a strong emphasis on cultural education. Ryan, how would you define cultural education? So prior to coming to SKIS and then after you have come, what does this mean to you, cultural education?
Cultural education to me means learning about the different cultures of the world, because we are in an international school. And one thing I've come to learn about being in an international school is that everybody has a story to tell, no matter depending on whatever culture they come from. And so I think that in Schloss Krumbach International School, cultural education is not just it doesn't just happen in classrooms, but it also happens through socialization between students.
And though in terms of the school curriculum, what does it entail?
In terms of the school curriculum, cultural education entails different subjects such as history, for example, geography, for example, music as well. Though the point is, in the curriculum, cultural education entails what the different subjects they learn, because the curriculum itself is cultural education. It's a mix of, for example, IB, which is international, so it talks about international, so cultural education. So.
And before you have come to SKIS, have you been exposed to, because like you said, we have at our school classes such as art history, history of music, you visit theaters, you visit museums, so we try to make sure that you're exposed to the cultural heritage of humanity. Have you been engaged with this before you have come to Schloss Krumbach? And how has the school prepared you to understand these parts of the educational process?
I'd say not to the extent we are exposed to in Schloss Krumbach, because in my previous school, we did indeed go to museums, but the extent at which we do in Schloss Krumbach is much more compared to as I was in my old school. And I would say in my old school we were prepared because it was somewhat an international school. We were also exposed to international values of different countries, but I'd say it prepared me because it made me understand what the outside world would look like, and now I am really seeing it firsthand, and it's really a good experience.
Walk me through how you have been, for example, familiarized with the field of history of music. When you have started studying for the first time, it might be overwhelming, right?
Yes.
Listening to the classical music, trying to grasp its value, the complexity. So how has it been for you? Because I've heard from our music teacher that you have even bought a ticket and went yourself to the concert in the winter holiday. So obviously now you're very cultured and appreciative of it. But how have you come to that point?
The history of music in culture education for me has really been important. Why? Because a way to explore culture is through music. A person's attitude can be reflected through music, as I've come to learn in Schloss Krumbach through our music lessons with Miss Nadezhda. For example, Wagner, for example, or other such composers as Donizetti. We understand through their music that the way their life was, the kind of character these composers had. It's a way of understanding culture. Because if we also include such composers as Franz Liszt, we understand it's very shades of the Hungarian culture in it. Because it's proud and it's really strong as as we know the Hungarian culture really is. And Wagner, for example, it's really German, as as we say in our music lessons, because of the large repertoire of the orchestra and the music notes and the leitmotifs which are explored in the composition. And I've come to this point where, to the extent of even going to a concert myself, because we explored not just the music in depth, but the culture in depth. And I've enjoyed it because we see that exploring different cultures actually really is interesting. As St. Augustine himself said, he said, the world is a book, and those, for example, who don't travel, who don't explore, only read one page of it. And when you, through music, you come to understand that different cultures have different importance, and there's different things that they speak about or different things they believe in. And for me, it's been really interesting, and I enjoyed, because I know my culture, one which is really proud of our beliefs and our values, and getting to know other people's culture is really it's really wonderful. It's wonderful.
That essentially is the purpose of an international school, right?
Yes.
To facilitate a dialogue between different cultures. If we switch the focus from the music into art, for example, it's always the case, right, that when we travel on study trips,
Yes.
or during the frequent visits to museums, students are tasked with presenting some of the paintings, we're talking about artists. So why do you think the school does it this way? What was your experience with this? What do you think you have learned through that? And why is it important for learning to have such experiences for students?
I say the school has done it this way because they do really understand the essence of physical and first-hand experience of different cultures. And this first-hand experience really stays with the students. When the students experience this things, this cultural values and beliefs which they've learned about through actually going to the places, through the various trips and the museums we've been to, they really understand the importance because they see it firsthand. And when they see it firsthand through not just the eyes of the teacher, because the truth about learning process, about cultural learning, is cultural education. Only learning things from what the teacher explains to you is more or less, it's more of looking at things through the eyes of the teacher. Mm-hmm. And when you experience it by firsthand, by yourself, looking at the museum, looking at these various paintings and going to these places, feeling the atmosphere, it's experiencing it through your own perspective.
What were some of the paintings that you presented?
I presented paintings by Rubens, and I also presented Rembrandt.
Rubens.
Oh?
Rubens. Rembrandt.
Rembrandt. Because it is a homework force on its own. Because I also got to learn this during my preparation for the presentation of the picture, that Rembrandt really doesn't fit into any art school. He doesn't fit into the school of Florence. He doesn't fit into the school of Venice. He's just a Rembrandt. He's not the Flemish school of painting. He's himself, which is really what I enjoyed about his paintings, because he has unique styles which are only done by him and which can only be done to the extent he did them by him. We can't even say they're as good as such people as Rubens, because we can see Rubens was belonged to an art school, but Rembrandt is just wonderful. And I presented one called Nativity. It was part of a series called Passion series, which were about the sufferings of Jesus Christ. This is the connection between art and school. Is that we got to find out that the ruler who commissioned his works was Friedrich Hendrik, and the exact period of time which we were studying in history is the exact period of time that Friedrich Hendrik lived.
Yeah, this is on purpose because the curriculum is built in a way that you're able to draw the interdisciplinary linkages. Because, as you just said, this creates in your mind these connections about how politics influences art, how this gets then saved and passed over the years through historical discourse. In our opinion, this creates a. This is what wholesome education is about, basically. We've talked about music and arts.
Yeah.
What is the class that you have every Friday?
Oh, dancing. Okay.
What would you say about dancing? How much do you love it on a scale from 1 to 10?
A 10. I love it. And it's also culture. Classical dances, I would say, are also one way of experiencing culture firsthand. We live in a country called Austria, and we've danced a lot of classical dances from this country, which have made me to really dive deep into the Austrian culture in not only class learning but also physical learning, because we learned dances such as Ländler, the Tyrolean dances as well, and I just I oh
the waltz.
yo of course I mean the Viennese
What is your favorite dance?
my favorite dance, I'd say it's Ländler.
Really?
Yes.
Typically, waltz tends to be the most popular one.
Yeah, it tends to be the most popular. It is a wonderful dance, I'd say, but for me, just the ones that has had that elegance and the more elegant and the beauty of the dance, I'd say Ländler has the edge over Waltz.
And are you looking forward to visiting the Viennese balls once you are in the older grades?
Definitely, definitely, because it's a chance to showcase my dancing skills, and it's also a chance to actually dance the Viennese waltz in Viennese balls. So obviously, it's a huge cultural immersion.
Yeah, that is a part of our school traditional, so to say, ecosystem that every year we take our older students, and Ryan is looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And what about the fancy dinners? How do they fit into the whole cultural education framework? What are the fancy dinners?
So
Because our audience doesn't know.
yeah. The fancy dinner is a dinner which happens about 3 to 4 times each year, and the fancy dinners are more than just dinners, so they're fancy, as the name implies. The decorations are different.
I hope that's not how you write the definitions for Mr. Vladimir on your exams.
No, the decorations applied for the fancy dinners are much more elegant, as they usually are, and elegant clothing such as for the boys tuxedos, suits, and fancy shirts are worn. Just and after eating, aside of eating, we also dance a lot. Such dances as Ländler, as I mentioned earlier, which was actually where I learned how to dance the dance Ländler during many of the fancy dinners, and I also learned how to waltz during the fancy dinners. The fancy dinners also help in culture immersion. Why? Because, as I said, dancing is a good way to experience culture also. Because I'll make a reference quickly to my culture as well, the Igbo culture. Dancing is a huge part of it, and we have many, I'd say, tons of dancing, of different dancing steps, which are only peculiar to our culture. So I've come to find out that the same applies for the Austrians. They have many dances which are peculiar to Austria, that I didn't know before coming to SKIS.
Yeah.
And so
But generally,
so important.
I think through our dancing selection, you get to travel quite a lot around the cultures because we also have tango,
Yes.
polka, cha-cha. Who doesn't like cha-cha? Generally speaking, how do you feel your creative potential? How do you think it has grown over the time, 2 years that you have been at our school? And what are your achievements on this creative front?
My creative potential has grown over the past 2 years, I would say drastically, because we've had to engage in a lot of creative tasks,
Such as,
such as history posters and many other posters in other subjects like math, for example, biology, even. We've had to make a few posters and everyday classwork. So in class, we speak about different topics, and we have to engage in group projects during these lessons, which obviously boost your creative potential. Why? Because the more creative tasks you engage in and the more you reflect on them, the more you would start to do better, and you start to have better ideas. Oh, I need to do this, I should have done that. And your creative potential slowly is growing. You might not notice it, but really it is. When I've come to look at the past 2 years at SKIS, I've realized that my creative potential really has skyrocketed, because there were many things before coming to SKIS, I never would have thought of doing or thought were possible or thought myself capable of doing. But as I came to SKIS and as every day passed, I came to realize that, wow, really, I have really grown, not only physically, but also creatively.
so do you feel like the school nurtures, inspires, and challenges you
Yes,
at
it
the
really
same
does.
time?
It's really competitive. Firstly, I'd say the amount of creativity bursting in each kid, every child here, it just makes you want to take the bull by its horns and say, I want to do that. No, I want to do that. And more every day, the more you challenge yourself, the more you realize that actually I really can do that.
Yes, you
And
really can. Why don't you tell us about your singing and playing the piano
oh,
and the you know experimentations with singing in different
language.
languages? This is really impressive.
Yes. Firstly, I'd like to say that this is one of the best schools you can learn when you can grow as a musician, I'd say, because there are many talented people in music here, and you learn from each one. Each person learns from another person. For example, I've learned how to play many. I've learned to play how to play music pieces on the piano. I've learned to sing in different languages. So now I'm not only singing in English or Igbo, I'm also singing in other languages such as German, such as Russian, even, which I never knew how to even read before, but now I can, because these are cultural these are
Exchanges.
which I've learned, which I've come to pick up over the past few years, by meeting different people of different cultures who have taught me, and I've also taught them about my culture and some skills, and they've also really taught me about some skills which I've imbibed into, for example, my singing or my playing, and it has become so much better. And that's what I realized.
Do you feel that you're also able to open up so much because of the environment that we have on campus, because of how all the students are taught and raised to be very nice and supportive to each other? So do you feel like when you express these creative ideas, potential, implement your singing, dancing, that you're being cheered by your peers, that nobody would laugh at you, that you are really a part of the community? Do you think that has a role?
Yes, it really does. It definitely does, because when you're in an environment such as we are in, and you as I said earlier, you learn every single day from each person. This makes you open. It makes you want to open up more, because the more you open up, the more you learn. The more open you are to learning, rather, I'd say, is the more you actually learn. You ask someone for help. You ask someone for help. He or she helps you in a matter, and the next day, the person would want to ask you for help. You help the person, and it goes back and forth. And each day passing by, you realize that there's so much you can learn, and then you start asking more people. You become more confident. You open up more. You learn more. The more you learn, the more you grow. The more open you are to learning, the more you learn, the more you grow. It's a two-way learning. So, you learn from some old people. Those people learn from you. That's how culture works, for example.
And how has you learning from your history classes manifested itself in this incredible historical stand-up endeavor that Grade 10 has going?
Oh, history has many incredible episodes. First of all, for grade 10 to do, for example, the historical plays which they carry out almost every week, it means that they've really been captivated by this interesting episodes in history which they've learned before, and it shows really how much their creativity levels have gone high,
And
because
how much love
the teacher puts into it. Because if the teacher doesn't put that much love, then they wouldn't be that interested in it. But the teacher puts so much effort into it, and then they see it. They're in awe of it. Oh, it's wonderful. The performances they've done this past year, have been about Napoleonic Wars mainly, and let's even go back to the beginning, the American Civil War. They've been so interesting. Why? Because Napoleonic Wars is a very interesting topic. We haven't studied it yet, but now I want to study it because they made me want to study it. They've shown that it really is interesting. And if they if the students can do some things as incredible as that, as interesting as that, then how much more would you imagine the teacher really can do? So it made me interested in it.
Interested.
Yes.
Why don't you perform the the song that you had as a part of your role last time? Because I think it really captured our hearts.
Песня певут, сердце поет, эти слова о тебе, Москва. It was it's a part of a song, "Лучше город земли" by Russian singer Muslim Magamayev. I sang it in my last my last performance, because I was supposed to play Russian Grenadier, and
the Moscow got burned.
Yes, my Moscow got burnt, and obviously I missed it, so I decided to sing a song.
That was amazing.
Yes, thank you.
I guess wrapping up our discussion, in the world of the technologies right now, when you can have everything written by AI, when you can look up anything you want. And in general, I feel like the technical professions are pretty dominant in how important they are. Why do you think it is important to have cultural education as a part of education at the school? Why do you think, do you think that this is still integral to raising students as capable, thinking, creative adults?
Yes, it is. I think that from the culture aspect of it, it's really important, because, as you mentioned, the artificial intelligence nowadays really is capable of just doing things for students, and it makes everything much easier. And when they find out that anything can really be done with AI, then the practical part of it starts getting diminished. Understand, obviously, why is culture is lost. You have to understand that it is lost because everything you really can do by just yourself, that creativity, that spark, which is influenced by the cultural education, it starts to reduce. If you think of it, your creativity levels due to artificial intelligence are depleted greatly because you don't want to think more about a lot. Your thinking skills
Jammed.
are, yes, they get jammed because they're not being put into use. You realize after some time that you're no more interested in learning about a lot of culture. Or why? Because you simply understand that why do I have to learn about it when I can simply get everything I need done?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you feel like at Schloss Krumbach International School, because yes, for the record, we have no phones and no AI for our students.
Yes.
Do you feel like this context combined with the rigorous teaching of the passionate teachers, well, it it helps you discover what you really are and what you really are interested in, and also to an extent regain your freedom to think independently.
Yes. I think it's a really nice approach to learn to teaching because when there is no screens, there is more space to think for yourself. Your nose is not always in your phone. Without the phone, what do we have? We have notebooks, proper notebooks, we have pens, and you start realizing that, oh, actually, I can do this. For example, many of our students are talented at drawing. They're really good in art. And if the more they, every single day, they keep on improving their skills through the guidance of sort of teachers, they realize that really they are good and they really are interested in it. But imagine if we had phones, they probably won't realize that they're really that talented at it. Some students are good in maths, some students are good in writing essays, they're good at telling stories, for example. Imagine if we had AI,
Yeah.
and then some students wouldn't understand that actually I'm that good at writing essays, I'm that good at writing stories, I'm really that talented at making posters by myself, I can think that well. The grade 10 students, as you mentioned earlier, they make everything, or their script is written without AI. It's purely their imagination, their creativity, and it's still interesting for us. But imagine if they used AI for it. Yes, maybe the script might be a bit better, but where's the creativity in it? They might only excel in the words, but not very much with the actions, because it will seem like every the robots basically. When we have really seasoned teachers who help get the best out of us, because they take advantage, it really, there's no they take the advantage, which is good. They don't, no screens, and then the students start applying their knowledge, their ability to think more, then their creativity boosts, their creativity level boosts, and they start realizing their interests, their passions, and they start thinking in the right direction, which is really important,
So we are sort of a talent inventory.
I'd say.
Kind of.
Because we have a lot of talented students and people in the schools.
All right, Ryan, in one sentence, talking to a potential parent, why would you send a child to our school?
Send the child to a school because here your child realizes his or her hidden abilities.
Great. All right. Thank you for staying with us. Stay tuned for more of the explanations on why we do the things we do the way we do them. And yeah, be creative and learn about art and history. And don't use so much AI. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
make your study rhythm.